Hello everybody. Today I will be talking about our work, Asterisk, super fast MPC with a friend. This is a joint work by Protik Paul, Protik Paul, and d4s3-1. So let me start with the problem of dark pool. So here a few sellers and buyers are here. The sellers want to sell some amount of goods. For that, this giver request that how much of unit that they want to sell and at what price. Along with that, there are few buyers who submit their buy request, which contains that at what price or what their preferred bid is and how much of unit that they want to buy. These requests are submitted to a central entity, namely Securities and Exchange Commission, who performs this matching, satisfying the volume criteria as well as price criteria. So that the bid and the price, offer price should be matched, and the volume conditions should also be matched. The Securities and Exchange Commission performs that matching, and it performs this matching obliviously. So why it is important to perform this matching obliviously or privately? Primarily because these stock prices are going to have significant impact if this information that how much of unit a particular stock is getting sold, if prior to the transaction, if these information are leaked in the market, that is going to have significant impact in the corresponding stock. So therefore, it is important to perform this matching privately. However, problem with this approach is that it is vulnerable to single point failure. So what we do? We solve it by performing MPC. So which allow to perform computation among a set of mutually interested parties on their private input. And the security guarantee will give correctness, that is the output of the function is incorrect. And it also ensures privacy, that is, if a party is corrupt and trying to gain additional advantage or additional information, it cannot learn anything beyond the output of the functionality. So in the literature, there are various MPC protocols, but depending on the security guarantees that they provide, it can be categorized primarily into three categories. The weakest one is security with abort, where an adversary can choose to abort a protocol. It can prevent the honest parties from learning the output, however, it can end up getting the output. A slightly stronger notion is fairness, which in which an adversary can still choose to abort a protocol. However, if it prevents the honest parties from learning the output, it doesn't get the output either. That is, either all the parties get the output or no one does. And finally, the strongest security guarantee is guaranteed output delivery, or in short, GOD, which says irrespective of the correct party identity, all the parties, all the honest parties, always get the output. Depending on the adversary's power that how many parties it can corrupt, the protocols may be classified into two categories, honest majority and dishonest majority. Usually, so honest majority protocols ensure their privacy and security guarantee only when the number of corrupt parties is less than half of the participating parties. Whereas dishonest majority protocols can withstand all but one corrupt parties. Usually, honest majority protocols are more efficient and they can ensure stronger security guarantee of delivery and fairness. However, if the number of corrupt parties is half of the participating parties, then no guarantee is provided. On the other hand, dishonest majority protocols are more resilient, but at the cost that it requires more amount of communication as well as computation. Also, we know from the literature that it is impossible to get guaranteed output delivery and fairness for any function in the dishonest majority setting. So we can see that there are certain good and bad aspects of both this model, and what we want to get the best or both best of both the models. For that purpose, we consider an alternate model where we introduce the central entity into the MPC computation to get rid of certain impossibility constraints. However, we want to maintain the privacy even from this central party, and for that purpose, we model it as a semi-honest helper party. And that is what we call it as MPC with a friend. So this model is more suitable for scenarios where a natural central party exists. For example, in the case of dark pool, Securities and Exchange Commission naturally enact the role of the helper party, whose purpose is to maintain the integrity of the system, and therefore it will behave semi-honestly. And in this model, what we want to get the best feature of both the worlds, that is better resiliency, better efficiency, as well as it should be lightweight and stronger security guarantees. Okay, in contrast to the standard fitting or traditional model, where only one adversary exists, here multiple adversaries exist. One malicious adversary corrupting majority of the parties, and there is also a semi-honest helper party. So depending upon the relation between them, there are two scenarios. So firstly, we consider the scenario where the malicious adversary corrupt majority of the parties as well as the helper party semi-honest. They exist simultaneously and they collude with each other. Prior work showed that it is impossible to get fairness in GOD in this model. We consider a different model where they exist simultaneously, however they are not colluding. But the malicious adversary can extend its view to the helper party. And we asked the question, is it possible to get fairness in GOD in this model? And we answered it that it is also impossible to get fairness in GOD in this setting. Finally, we considered the model where either the helper party is semi-honest or the malicious adversary corrupts majority of the parties. And in this setting, it is possible to achieve stronger security guarantee. The construction could be as efficient as honest majority protocol, and it is lightweight. It does not need to rely on any cryptographic hardness assumptions. Okay, so now I will summarize the results of this work. First, we give an impossibility proof that fairness in GOD is impossible in the dishonest majority malicious setting when the semi-honest helper party simultaneously exist. They may not be colluding, but the helper party may send, malicious adversary may send its view to the helper party. We just as discussed in the prior slide. Then we consider the either model, that is either the helper party is semi-honest or malicious adversary corrupt majority of the party. In this model, we design an 8-party generating protocol, Asterisk, and which is extremely efficient and it's also scalable. We demonstrate its scalability by running it for hundreds of parties. And finally, as dark pool is a natural application in this model, we design the required primitives and building blocks for this application. We implement and benchmark it for demonstration. Okay. For asymptotic comparison, we compare with state-of-the-art honest majority and dishonest majority construction. We can see that in comparison to dishonest majority protocol, we are able to improve the security guarantee from abort to fairness while improving the pre-processing communication cost by at least the order of N. And when compared with honest majority, we are able to improve the resiliency and achieve to get close to dishonest majority without incurring any additional overhead. We also give performance analysis of our construction. To compare the pre-processing cost of our work, we compare it with the assisted MPC. By running it for up to hundreds of parties, we can see that both in terms of communication and runtime, we outperform the prior work. Also, we compare with other dishonest majority construction like mascot, overdrive, and assisted MPC by considering 5 parties. And we compare how much of communication is required and how much of throughput we are generating. So throughput is amount of multiplication triple that can be generated in unit time. We see an improvement of 352 times, 306 times, and close to 7 times over mascot, overdrive, and assisted MPC in terms of communication. And for throughput, we see an improvement of 288 times, 228 times, and close to 3 times in comparison to mascot, overdrive, and assisted MPC. We give a performance analysis of online phase as well. where we compare with honest majority work of Atlas and dishonest majority, so which are implemented on the MPC framework, and we see that our running time is slightly worse than the other work, which is primarily because all the implementation level optimizations are available on MPC framework. But we can see that our construction outperforms in terms of communication both the other work. Okay, as I mentioned earlier, that one natural application for this model is dark pool. The two popular algorithms that is used for dark pool are continuous double auction and volume matching. So continuous double auction streams the buy and sell request, and whenever a new request comes, then it is processed with the existing set of views. And it is more suitable in the sense of server outsource setting. And we also consider the algorithm of volume matching, which matches the buy and sell requests in epochs. And we consider that all the buyers and sellers are taking part in the MPC protocol in the volume matching algorithm. So for continuous double auction, we consider 5 servers who are executing this matching algorithm. And we consider up to 500 buy and 500 sell lists, so total 1000 lists, and that can be matched in less than 20 seconds, and the amount of communication is required is less than 1.8 MB. And when we compare, we also give the benchmarking result for volume matching, where we consider up to 50 buyers and 50 sellers, so total hundreds of parties are participating in the APC protocol. And they can be matched within 2 minutes, and the total amount of communication is required is less than 2.5 MB. Okay, now I'll go a bit into the construction of our work. Usually any computation is first considered as an arithmetic circuit which comprises of addition and multiplication gates, and we perform the evaluation in a gate-by-gate paradigm. That is, first we perform input sharing corresponding to all the input gates. Then for all the intermediate addition and multiplication gate, we perform addition and multiplication on the secret shared data, and finally corresponding to the output gate, we perform the output reconstruction. So as we perform the computation on secret sharing, the sharing semantic, let me just introduce the sharing semantics. Since we want to withstand all but one party per party, we use additive secret sharing, where a secret is split into n components, where each of the components are random. However, the correct parties can deviate from the protocol and they can try to alter the underlying secret. So therefore, it is important to use authenticated secret sharing, and for that we use information theoretic map. We consider a global key delta to be the key, and corresponding tag is key x, which is delta times the secret x. And the authenticated sharing contains additive sharing of the secret x, additive sharing of the global key delta, and additive sharing of the key of the tag. Our construction is done in the pre-processing online paradigm. So we split the secret x into 2 parts. One is random mask delta x, and the mask value which is available in the online phase. So throughout the computation, we maintain the following invariant, that is the random mask delta is authenticated sharing is prepared in the pre-processing phase, and in the online phase, when the input is available, then the mask value is computed and the mask value is available to all the parties. Here, one thing to note is that the delta or the mask is available to the delta party in here. However, the parties have only the shading of the delta, and the mask value is available to all the parties excluding the joker party. So this mask secret sharing comprises of 2 components, that is the mask value and the random sharing, authenticated random sharing of the mask. And the authenticated additive sharing of the mask comprises of the additive sharing of the mask, additive sharing of the global key, and the additive sharing of the corresponding tag. Okay, now we are ready to discuss the individual gates. So for input gate, consider PD is a dealer who wants to send the input V, and we want to have mask sharing of this input V. So for that purpose, in the pre-processing phase, a random mask delta V is prepared, and then the helper party sends this delta V to the dealer. Then the dealer can locally compute the mask value, that is MV, which is V plus delta V, and you can send it to all the parties. So this is the main sharing semantic that we need to maintain. Only thing is left is how to perform this authenticated additive sharing of the random value. So we will discuss about it at the end. Okay. Addition is, since the homomorphic property of this sharing, we can perform, or the parties can perform the addition non-interactively. So, according to the pre-processing, they can perform the addition on the authenticated additive sharing of the mask, and the online phase, it can perform the addition on the mask value to obtain the m of x plus y. Challenging part is the multiplication gate, where the inputs are mask shifted shared, and A is to obtain the mask shifted sharing of the output value Z, which is x times y. So parties have the mask shifted sharing of x and y. They want to get the mask sharing of Z. Corresponding to that, the delta Z is prepared in the pre-processing phase, and the mask Z will be prepared in the online phase. Mask Z must satisfy this relation, where all the terms mx, my, delta y, delta x, all these terms, either here or in the shared form, available to all the parties, excluding this delta xy and delta z. In the pre-processing phase, helper party computes this delta xy, which is delta x times delta y, and samples the new delta z. And then it prepares the authenticated sharing of this value. In the online phase, each of the parties compute this authenticated additive sharing of the corresponding mask value in V by following this above equation, and then they send this share to a designated party, let's say P1, who perform the reconstruction, which is summation over I, and send this reconstructed value to all the parties. Only thing here is left is to discuss how to perform this authenticated additive sharing. So we will now discuss this part. Note that the helper party knows the V as well as the delta and the corresponding tag TV. It can pick the random sharing corresponding to V and TV and set these values to P1, P2, Pn. So in total, this requires a communication of 2 elements. We optimize it further by considering common key setup, where P1, P2, Pn have a common key with the helper party, and P1, P2, Pn minus 1, they non-interactively perform this shared sampling. So how? Consider Pi having a key Ki along with the helper party. They evaluate a Pi on a common counter to obtain the share Vi and Pvi. However, the elect party cannot get its share in this way. Helper party needs to intervene here. It computes Vn and Pvn and sends the corresponding share to Pn. So we reduce the communication from 2L to 2 elements. Now the thing now we are done with evaluation, intermediate evaluation. Only thing is left is to perform output reconstruction. So till this part, the sharing invariant is maintained. That is, every party is having authenticated sharing of the mask, and the mask value is also available to all the parties. To obtain the final output, it is required to get the corresponding mask in clear. They have the sharing of the mask. But before going for the output reconstruction, they need to validate that all the intermediate evaluation or the reconstructions are done correctly or not. So for that purpose, P1, P2, Pn and the helper party perform a match check. Helper party gets the output corresponding to the match check, whether the all the reconstructions are performed correctly or not. If all the reconstructions are performed correctly, then it sends the delta V value to all the parties. Otherwise, it sends ball. So if any intermediate reconstruction is not correctly done, in that case, a ball will be given to all the parties, and neither the correct parties nor the honest party will get the output. Otherwise, all the parties will get the output, and that is how we achieve the fairness. And for the math check, we use existing technique from the literature, where we check whether the tag minus the mask value times the heat is equals to 0 or not. For that, every party obtains a sharing of the this value, and then it is required to check whether this value sums over I is equals to 0 or not. But checking for all the individually will be extremely tedious, and that is why we perform it via a random linear combination. And all the parties perform a random linear combination of their shares and send it to the helper party. Helper party takes the sum and checks whether it is 0 or not, and depending on that, it outputs 1 or 0. So that was the high level idea of our construction. I will conclude my talk with a few open questions. So let me just recall that we considered the model that either the helper party is semi-honest or the majority of the parties are maliciously corrupt. So and what we achieve is fairness guarantee. A natural question is to extend the security guarantee to GOD. Well, you can see that it is quite easy to obtain GOD in this setting. How? If the protocol fails, if it aborts, in that case, what is going to happen? We know that the malicious adversary has misbehaved, and that is why the protocol must have aborted. And in that case, the helper party must be honest. So then we can continue our complete the protocol by sending out all the inputs to the helper party. Since it is honest, there is no privacy breach. But this kind of nullifies the whole purpose of the MPC, and we do not want to leak information towards the helper party. So we want to get GOD without relying or revealing all the information to the helper party, and which is a challenging question. Another question that we are looking right now is to extend this framework for various other applications where this model fits naturally, like PPML and federated cloud computation. With this, I conclude my talk. Thank you.